Stephen Fulton versus Naoya Inoue, 12 rounds for Fulton's WBC WBO junior featherweight title. A lot of people have been messaging me about this one. I'm trying to get it done before I got to speak later today. So let's get into it, man. This is a great fight. And you know you have to show respect for both men for taking this fight, right? Both men are undefeated. Somebody's O is going to go. Right, you have to give more credit to Stephen Fulton, though, for me, right, for traveling all the way down to Japan to put his belt on the line. Personally, if I was the champion, I don't know the back and forth of how the business operates, but if I'm the champion, no, you got to come to me. So he is going down there to defend his belt against one of the most dangerous opponents in boxing today, right? This is happening next week, Tuesday. I think on the East Coast, it's going to start at like 2 a.m. in the morning. So you got to get your clocks ready if you're going to catch this fight live. I'm a little torn on this one. I haven't decided who I'm leaning more towards yet. And let's get into it. Let's start with cool boy Steph. 21 wins, no losses, 8 wins by way of knockout. You know, he's going up against a lot, and he knows that he is going up against a lot, right? He knows that going down to Japan isn't exactly going to work out in his favor, right? The time changed, but I did see that he went much earlier than most people do when they are fighting across the world like that. But you're going up against the time change. You're going up against the crowd noise. I don't know the judges, but even if all of them aren't Japanese, they will be influenced by the noise, right? When Inoue lands a shot, the crowd is going to go crazy. Even if it doesn't land a shot that lands cleanly, the people will scream, and that influences you as a judge, whether they want to admit it or not, right? The main point is Fulton's up against a lot. But even with knowing all of that and understanding what he is up against, right? Not to mention the food, right? The nutritional aspect of things that all goes into the mix. I still don't think people should be writing Stephen Fulton off, right? I don't think people should be writing off, because it's not like, this guy isn't chopped liver. He is a champion in that 122-pound division. He's got 2 of those belts, right? He's one of the top guys in that division for a reason. So I don't know why people are just writing Steve Fulton off as if he doesn't got a chance, when that's not the case. When it comes to dealing with pressure, it's not a one-size-fits-all thing, right? Some people handle pressure greatly, right? Some not so much. My greatest races in my track and field career have came when the pressure is on, right? At the Olympic Stadium, when the pressure is on. But there's also other people, right, who don't handle the pressure so well. To win a tough fight against a great opponent, you are going to have to know how to handle the pressure. Steve Fulton knows how to handle the pressure. Let's go back a few fights. When he fought Angelo Leo back in 2021, a fight where at the time both men were undefeated. Leo was the champion. A guy who wasn't the biggest puncher like that, but a guy who still had pop and was tough and durable, and a guy who was going to bring the pressure and make it an uncomfortable fight. And that's kind of what it was. Leo got some licks in, right? And landed some good, solid shots cleanly. But it was also a fight where you could see some of that slickness and that elusiveness of cool boy Steph, especially from in close, right? Whether he was slipping punches, right, stepping back out of the way, shifting his foot angle, and landing counters out of different stances, Fulton does a great job of anticipating what's going to happen and then putting his body in the right position simultaneously to let off a few shots or counters if the opportunity and the spacing produces itself. So you look at his record, and yeah, he does not have a lot of knockouts, but his shots aren't light either. When he landed some counters on Leo, man, Leo's head was getting pushed back, right? But that was a fight that he handled the pressure like the champ that he became. And it prepared him for his fight against Brandon Figueroa, which is who he fought next. Against Brandon Figueroa, who's known to bring an immense amount of pressure, right? Likes to break down his opponents, who has a great chin, likes to fight on the inside, who has great endurance. This was going to be another fight where he had to lock in and find different ways to capitalize on the openings from in close. When you watch a Brandon Figueroa fight, you know he's going to stick to you like glue. It's going to be an in close fight, right? Fulton did a great job of controlling the distance from in close, right? Countering accurately, using his feet and angles to stay off the ropes and keep his opponent at bay, and to try to keep this fight at the center of the ring as much as he can. Figueroa threw a lot of punches and applied a lot of pressure, but all the shots weren't getting through. And it would look like it was a lot worse because Schoolboy Steph was pulling back, and that's when Figueroa was coming through. And so it looked like his head was being snapped a lot more when it did land. I also thought Fulton landed great combinations from in close, right? Uppercuts, short hooks from in close, using his speed and athleticism to his advantage. He knew he was going to be fighting off the back foot in this fight. So rather than throwing one shot at a time or just one jab, most of the time when he was being pushed back, he would throw combinations as he was going back. So he wasn't just throwing single shots. He was throwing left hooks or right hooks going back. And he would anticipate that Figueroa was going to come forward with his hands down, and that's when he would at least get one lick back before Figueroa let his hands go. Honestly, I was very impressed with Fulton's ability to handle that type of pressure, right? And how he was fighting on the inside. Figueroa breaks down his opponents, right? He breaks their spirit, right? He tires them out. And when they get tired, because he comes in great condition, when they get tired, that's when he really starts to assert himself and dominate the fight. But Fulton showed why he is top dog. Like, that will didn't die. His spirit did not break. He fought back and he kept his game plan and stayed the course. He was tired, yes. He took some shots, right? He was smart offensively and smart enough defensively to get himself out of danger, though. Right? In that 8th round, it did really look like Brandon Figueroa was starting to get to him, because honestly, man, he looked gassed, right? He looked very tired. He was sucking for wind in that 8th, but he outlasted the storm and pushed through that time, right? He was tired. You could see that. But as the fight went on, man, it just goes to show what type of heart and will that he has. And to be honest, I mean, the amount of punches that him and Figueroa were throwing, you would be crazy not to get tired, man. Fighting Figueroa is, that's a long day. You know what I'm saying? Because of how much volume and pressure that he's throwing. So I can understand why any opponent fighting for Figueroa is going to get tired. However, I don't think that will be the case in this fight. I'm not anticipating Fulton and Inoue to be throwing an immense amount of shots, right? I'm not expecting a high volume fight, more strategy and tactical behind it. He fought Daniel Roman, and that was another great showing of Fulton, right? The skills, the great footwork, the great jab, smart movements, how sharp he was, how accurate he is, right? He put on a great showing against Roman. He kept the fight in the center of the ring and controlled the fight of where it was going to be. Once Fulton establishes his jab and you give him time and range to do that, it's going to be a long night for his opponents, man, because if you let him control the pace of the fight, he's going to slow it all the way down where he is the one to be effective. And even in that fight, man, there were moments when he was under pressure. Even under pressure, Fulton kept his cool, reset his feet, and kept bringing the fight back to where he wanted it to be. He's very smart in the ring, and this is going to be a great fight, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this one unfolds, because Inoue is a different cat, because he does a lot more than anyone that he has faced so far. Let's talk about his opponent, the monster Naoya Inoue. 24 wins, no losses, 21 wins by way of knockout. Let's get the elephant out of the room from the jump. Inoue has power. Yes. He does. Yes, yes, yes. He has the power. Seems like everybody's only talking about the power. Nothing wrong with that. Yes, we know the man has power. However, the man can do more than just have power. He's not just a guy that just has pop. And that's why he's been able to be so successful, because he can do more than just bring a heavy punch. Right? And this is why it's going to make things tougher for Fulton to deal with, because Fulton has always had the speed. Figueroa had pressure and power, but Fulton, he was faster than him, right? But Inoue might be as fast, if not slightly faster, right? Fulton has great reflexes, but Inoue has great reflex as well, if not better reflexes, right? He's also moving up a division, and And a lot of people are talking about Fulton being the bigger man. Look, 4 pounds is not really a big deal, right? Moving from 118 to 122, yeah, that's 4 pounds, right? He's moving up another division, and I don't think it's going to diminish his speed or his power. If done right, which I'm sure his team will do, he'll be more explosive, and that power will carry. It's not like he's jumping up to 130. That would be a much more drastic change. But from 118 to 122, it's not a crazy amount of difference, at least to me. Moving up probably actually helps him more than it does Steve Fulton, because I was expecting Fulton to move up to, right? Who knows how Fulton is handling the weight at this stage, right? But moving up another division, man, especially for Inoue, he's not, the power is going to carry. The power is going to carry. Inoue, man, he's fast, he's strong, he's quick, he's elusive, sets great traps, he's explosive, right? He can close the gap in a second. He can punish you with one shot in a second, right? Figueroa breaks down his opponents, and Inoue stops his opponents one shot at a time. Both men have power, but Inoue has that devastating one-shot knockout type of power. The only fight that I've seen Inoue hurt was when he fought Lenito Donaire the first time. Right? He's been defending his belt since like his 4th fight. But this was a fight that he was facing someone who wasn't afraid of him, right? Donaire wasn't afraid of Inoue. He took the fight to him, and Inoue did the same. And defensively, he wasn't good that night, right? He was not good that night defensively, if we can be honest. He didn't look great from a defensive standpoint, right? A fight where he overcommitted a lot of his shots, and Donaire capitalized on those overcommitments. Inoue is usually the guy who is throwing shots and slipping out of the way, and it's hard to get to him. But in that fight, man, he was standing right in front of him as if he was trying to prove that he could knock his opponents out, because that's how he's always gotten away with it, right? But Donaire is a little different. He's more experienced. He's got power himself. He knows how to maneuver. He's got heart as well. Right. So in that fight, he was taking a lot of punishment because he wasn't prioritizing the defense. His hands dropped a lot in that fight, and he looked tired in parts of that fight. In that 9th round, go back and watch that 9th round. Donaire caught him cleanly with a shot that froze him for a split second. He was hurt that round and slowed that round down and kept this distance that round to regroup himself. But he is so strong-minded. And when he landed his shots, man, in any round of the fight, you could hear it. He got a knockdown in the 11th round. And if it wasn't for the fact that he scored a knockdown in the 11th, who knows? Maybe he would have lost that fight. Right? But that's another added component that makes Inoue so great, is because he has that power. That night, that power bailed him out when his defense was tested and his heart was tested. The power bailed him out. But the second time they fought, man, it was a much different story, right? Inoue closed out the show within 3 rounds in devastating fashion. So it goes to show that he is improving after every fight. He gets smarter and more mature in the ring after every fight. He didn't try to jump in the ring and outpower Donaire this time, right? He waited until it was the right time to let his hands go, and he put more focus on accuracy with power, right? He doesn't need to throw a lot to be effective, man. He just needs to throw the right shots at the right time, and he will do damage. His last fight, he fought Paul Butler. Paul Butler went into strictly defensive mode from the jump, right? He wasn't really in there trying to fight like that, to me, in my opinion. Inoue didn't respect his skill or his power, it looked like, right? I'm surprised Butler lasted 11 rounds, but Inoue looked great in that fight. It looked very easy, right? The man makes boxing look easy. He makes certain movements look easy, but that was also a fight where he looked bored. That was a fight where he looked like, man, he just wanted to get it over with. Right, but he closed out the show with a body shot. Inoue is a great body puncher, right? That's the best way to slow down your opponent, because Paul Butler was running a little bit, right? But Inoue said, you know what? I'm going to hit the body here. I'm going to slow you down. The man is a great body puncher. He does damage when he targets the body. And if he wants to slow Cool Boy Steph down, he's going to go to the body. I'm sure he's going to go to the body, but I'm sure Cool Boy Steph's team knows that as well, too. So this is going to be a great fight, man. So who wins? This fight has the potential to be the fight of the year candidate, man. I think both men respect each other. It's not going to be, in my opinion, I don't think it's going to be one of those war type of fights. I think it's going to be a very tactical, very strategic fight Fulton's the bigger man. Yes, Inoue's the bigger puncher. Yes, but who's going to use their skill set to their advantage? Who's going to be the better counter puncher? Who's going to be the aggressor? And who's going to make the better adjustments in real time? Who's going to show the more heart and will if the skills are evenly matched? It's going to be a great fight and a tough one to say who's going to win. I have no biases anytime I break down a video, even if I know the person or I don't. I come in unbiased and just give my honest opinion and thoughts from what I've seen, just as I'm sure all of you watching are going to do the same. I also got to add, right, like where the fight is taking place. To get a decision win, for Steve Fulton to get a decision win in Inoue's home country, man, that's going to be very, very tough. Fulton's going to have to dang near box a perfect fight. He cannot have a lapse in any movement, any judgment. He is going to have to fight perfect if he wants to win this fight by decision in Inoue's country, right? I think Inoue obviously has the bigger pop, but from a pure boxing ability standpoint, man, I lean towards Steve Fulton in that category. So I would like to see Steve Fulton win. I would like to see Cool Boy Steph win. I relate to his story, how he grew up, some of the stuff that he had to overcome. Like, I relate to that so much, and I want to see him win. However, as of now, I'm leaning towards Inoue winning by some type of mixed decision. A Steve Fulton win should not shock anybody, honestly, right? If it was a neutral place, I'd probably lean more Fulton. But as of now, man, I'm 51% Naoya Inoue and 49% Steve Fulton. But hey, somebody's O has to go in the fight. But as spectators of the sport, we win. We win as spectators of the sport. And we got to tip our hats off to both men for taking this fight. Regardless of the outcome, this is going to be a great fight. And it's a fight that makes boxing come to life. Going to be a great night. What are your thoughts on this fight? Who do you have winning this one? Let me know in the comment section below. If you would like to support the channel, there's a couple ways you can do so. You can like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you would like to support by way of donation, you can find options in the description below. Also, my Cash App handle will be on screen as well. Any amount goes towards the growth of this channel and will be greatly, greatly appreciated. We recently just started a membership section on the channel. Don't always get to do all of the suggested videos you guys suggest in the comment section below. But if you become a member, those suggested videos rise to the top, and I will do my best to get those done for you. Or if you would like to become a member just to support the channel, that would be greatly, greatly appreciated as well. Shout out to all the members already. Shout out to everybody that continues to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 3,000 subscribers. So if you know anybody that likes boxing, likes to talk boxing, and definitely share this channel with them. Shout out to everybody that's been watching the channel. I appreciate each of you. So with all that being said, I'll see you next time.